Good afternoon. It is the 25th of June 2022, and I am sitting here in my bedroom on my bed, needing to do a recording, and I am so lazy to do it. I am using the computer camera and I'm using the computer microphone, and my background sucks a little bit. So it is 3:30. I am hungry. I'm waiting for some food. Chisa has gone to get some food. There's no electricity, and I'm just having one of those days. So yeah, this morning I attended the Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book meeting, the Rosebank Big Book meeting with Frank, and I really enjoyed it. And then took a bath, and I was meant to go get my eyelashes done and my eyebrows done, but that didn't happen because the eyelashes lady was fully booked for today. I forgot it was month end, and I couldn't go and do that. So here I am, lying down in bed, thinking about the day, the conversations I had. My sister called, Neighbor called, Timber called. He invited me to go shopping with him. And I said to him, I don't feel like shopping. I don't feel like going to Eastern Mall to go shopping. I don't feel like any of it. I actually want to just sit and relax and have a good meal and take a nap and not even record a video. So, yeah, so here I am sitting in bed with my shoes on, with my makeup on, and I really don't feel like doing anything. Perhaps I should just tidy up, but it's just one of those days. So, yeah, what can I say? It's just so weird spending time by myself. I don't know, it just feels weird. It feels like it's just too quiet. Just thinking now, maybe some meditation should be what I do, or maybe I should put on a series and watch something while the electricity is gone. I'm watching this series on Netflix about this church. I think they call them the Fundamentalists. The Fundamentalist church is intense. It is so intense. I mean, the leader of it died having like 80 wives or something. And then one of his sons took over the church and started marrying his stepmoms, his father's wives, and just took over. And it's so weird because he was in charge of everything, who owned what, um, who was supposed to marry who, and how they lived, who worked where. They took over these guys' businesses. The businesses belonged to the church. It's like a multi-million rand, not rand, dollars, like multi-million dollar church with over 10,000 members. And it comes from the, it's like a side division of the Mormon church in America. And they split up from the Mormon church itself because they wanted to keep polygamy. So they broke away from the Mormon church and they created this fundamentalist church. I think it's called, the full name is the Fundamental Church of the Seventh-day Adventist, I think it was. But they broke away like 100 years ago from the Mormon church because the men wanted to have like as many wives as they wanted. And when the Mormon church made polygamy illegal, or they dropped the tradition of polygamy, these guys thought, no, no ways. We don't want that. We want to have as many wives as we possibly can have, you know? And it was like, wow. So this guy, the leader, I think he died at 100 years or like 90 something, but he was like really old. Apparently, they were sitting with him in the lounge one day, and he was walking around with this oxygen pipe because he needed oxygen. He was that old, but he had like 65 wives. I don't even remember in the series when he got to 80 wives, but I think he ended up with like 80 wives. And, phew. And I don't even know how many children he ended up having, because like each wife had like 8 children, 6 children, 9 children type of thing. And these people live like that, like in like their own land. So this church, let me tell you, they where were those Olympics? Salt Lake City. Yeah, I remember there were Olympics at Salt Lake City at some point. I think it was like in 2000 or 2002 or something. And this church is or was in Salt Lake City at that time. And this guy, one of the leaders of the church, actually told his church members that they're going to have to move from Salt Lake City because the Olympics are going to bring the end of the world. And they had another branch somewhere else away from Salt Lake City with like 4,000 members or something. So they moved the members who were based in Salt Lake City. They moved them to the other branch of the church in wherever that place is in America. And he basically told them that it was going to be the end of the world. The Olympics are going to bring fire to the world, and God is just going to end our existence as human beings. And they believed him. They moved. they moved. And all the members who had businesses, members who had money, the members who, and they were really well off. Hey, it seems like these people had really successful businesses and they moved away. And the funny thing is, obviously, the world didn't end. The Olympics did take place at Salt Lake City, and nothing happened. So these members of these fundamentalists believed that their leader was not going to die because he told them that when his time comes for him to die, he was just going to be renewed and become young again. And he lived for a really long time, and his people really believed everything he said. This prophet, what was his name now? I cannot remember his name. That sucks. I'm bad with names, even with interesting people like that who can get like tens of thousands of people to follow them in their madness. So they interviewed this guy, or yeah, they interviewed this guy who is an engineer by trade, and he was doing very well. So these people are not stupid. It's not like they haven't learned science and they don't understand how the world works. But um, this guy actually joined the church because he wanted to have two wives, you know. And he joined the church and he stayed with the church. And he was married when this happened and he had children already. But when he joined the church, he was eventually given another wife. So he had 6 children with his first wife and 9 children with his second wife. So 15 children in total. And he had a booming business, apparently. He made lots and lots of money. He supplied, you know, um, innovations that he created, and they were bought by big companies like Amazon, the companies that we know. And yeah, so they're interviewing him and his wife and his children. One of his children, I think it was, who was married off to the old guy. Can you imagine? The guy was like 85 years old, and this engineer's daughter was like 19. And at 19 years old, she was given to this leader of this church. Mm-hmm. And she got married. And they interview her. And she talks about how she didn't understand what was going on. She was obviously a virgin. She's never been with a guy. And all of a sudden, she has to be married to this leader of this church who was like 85 years old. Whew. And as soon as she found out, she had to get married the very next day. So there was no preparation, there wasn't anything. She just had to go and get married. Can you imagine? And this guy was, at that point, he couldn't even walk properly. He was on oxygen. And he was still taking wives. He was still trying to engage with these little young girls. I think she was wife number 65, if I remember correctly. And she used to come up with tricks, to avoid him touching her. Amazing, hey? religion is, I find religion so amazing. And the reason why I find religion so amazing is not because I don't believe that historically Jesus Christ existed. I believe Jesus Christ existed historically. I believe Muhammad existed historically. I believe Buddha existed historically, and all the religious figures actually did exist. And it can be proven that, scientifically, that they did exist. They were human beings, they were flesh and blood like us. But they managed to do something extraordinary. And because they could do something so extraordinary that anybody else couldn't, we then created religions that follow them and their philosophy and their principle. And we believe that in Christianity, especially, we believe that Jesus Christ is our Savior. You can't get to heaven without His salvation, and only through His body and His blood can you have access to heaven, and if you don't follow and believe and have faith in that, then you go to hell. I find it amazing that we grow up getting told that, and I have got no idea what's going to happen when I die. I don't know whether there's going to be hell or heaven or um, the eternal fires of hell or the eternal paradise of heaven. I don't know. But I just get so amazed when I see documentaries and I read articles about cults and Mormons and Seventh-day Adventists and these African prophets, such as Pastor Chris and the one from Malawi. I forget his name now. Oh, what's his name? He managed to escape the South African government after he was arrested. But I fail to believe how the fundamentalists can exist for more than 100 years with people following them, believing that the only way to heaven, the only way to salvation is through having as many wives as possible with as many children as possible. This is their fundamental belief. And in their society, women play absolutely no role besides marrying a man and bearing children. And I find it absolutely fascinating, really, because it's like, how does bearing children and having a multitude of wives qualify you as worthy of going to heaven, is the question that I ask, How does that happen? And how do we seriously, as the men and especially the women really believe that that is the only way that we need to go about life. I don't understand. And we're talking people who are educated, we're talking people who have got the financial means to be independent from this church. So I think, oh, let me get up. Oh, gosh. It completely amazes me that people live that way, you know? It completely amazes me that people live that way. I find it weird. Maybe people find it weird that people like me exist where I don't exactly have a specific following of any kind when it comes to religion, um, or stuff like that, you know. Perhaps a lot of people think I'm crazy, you know. They probably sit and think, you are the weird one. Seriously, because how we grow up and how we are taught and what we are taught is right and wrong can be our ultimate path, so to speak, you know? How do you know? When do you get told that the life that you are living is not the correct one? How do you find out the truth? It is out there. And unfortunately, we'll find out what the truth is on the day that we die. You know? When we die, we'll find out whether these people are right or wrong. Because they are told in their church that that's the only way to salvation. Some are told in their churches that the only way to salvation is through getting baptized. You have to get baptized. And there's certain things that you have to do on a daily basis to show that you are a believer and that Jesus Christ is your Savior. And if you don't do that, it means you are going to hell, you know. So I suppose a hell of a lot of us are going to hell because according to Google, let's have a look, right? How, what population, what population is Christian? That doesn't sound English. Let's see what Google says. So, according to Google, the first result of this question is from the worldpopulationreview.com, and it says approximately 2.38 billion people practice some form of Christianity globally. This means, according to this, that about 1/3 of the world's population is Christian. Christianity has several denominations, but the largest is the Catholic Church. Very interesting. So 1/3 of the world population practices Christianity of some sort, which means the world population right now is on 7 billion. Deduct the 2.38, let's say 2.4 billion, you're looking at 3.6 billion. So 3.6 billion individuals are going to hell. 3.6 billion. Is that correct? I think that's correct. So, more interesting facts. Christianity is the predominant religion in Europe, Russia, North America, South America, and parts of Africa. Timor-Leste, the Philippines, and much of Oceania. However, Christianity is also practiced on a smaller scale in regions including the Middle East and Indonesia. In some 21 nations worldwide, Christianity has been deemed the state religion. These nations include England, it includes Greece and Iceland, nations with high numbers of Christians or members of any religions, but no official state religion, and where religion does not play a role in policy making, are called secular states. Now, I live in a secular state. South Africa is a secular state. And in South Africa, you are free to practice whatever religion you want. You are free to believe in whatever you want. You are free to let others do what it is that they want. You're free to dress up the way you want. You can be Muslim, you can be Christian, you can be an atheist, you can be a traditionalist, you can be an Africanist, you can be whatever you want. So I come from a place where I can be flexible when it comes to religion, and I can choose to be spiritual rather than religious. So that is as far as I can go. Temba is calling. Let's see. Temba. Hi. Nope. I don't know. It's 10 to 4. Well, it's 5 to 4. Whatever the time is. I hope so. Usase Eastern Mall? Cloverton. Oh, so Lakeside.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I went to buy my gym stuff, my protein shake, and then and groceries one bunch.
Oh.
And yeah.
Okay, so I'll let you know if you have your case.
Okay, please let me know so that things are going to
Okay, no problem.
All right. Am I gonna see you today? No.
I don't know. So 4. Even Okachisa is not here yet. I'm waiting for him. Upumila boy. Springs Gate, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I think so. Ngizobona ngayo. Angikhalelanga next ngikhathele mina ama-takeaway.
Mm.
Mm.
No, all right, sure. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Oh, so here's another interesting fact. Countries with the highest total number of Christians. Guess who's number one? The United States of America. That's where the crazies are. Followed by Brazil, then Mexico, then Nigeria, then the Philippines, followed by Russia, Democratic Republic of Congo. Italy is number 8, Ethiopia, and number 10 is China. China. Now, in terms of percentages of Christians compared to a nation's population as a whole, the top spot is understandably claimed by the Vatican City, the independent city state that is the headquarters of the Catholic Church. The Vatican's roughly 825 citizens are all Christians, which gives it a percentage of 100%. In second place is Timor-Leste, formerly East Timor. Of this island's nation, more than 1.1 million residents, approximately 99.1% are Christians. A full 98% of American Samoa's 70,000 residents practice Christianity, but it's a US territory rather than an independent country. Thus, third place falls to Romania, which is 98% Christian. Now, looking at this, there are 10 countries whose population is over 95% Christian. And interesting ones, besides the ones that I've mentioned, are number 4, Armenia, with 97.9% Christians, Grenada, with 97.3% Christians, number 6 at Papua New Guinea at 97%, Greenland is 96.6%, Haiti is 96%, and Paraguay is 96%. The only African country here is Zambia. 95.5% of Zambians are Christians. Where does South Africa fall? I don't see South Africa here. South Africa doesn't even feature. Very interesting. These countries that have got over 90% of Christians are really interesting, right? Like some of them I wouldn't have thought was like that. Even Lesotho has got 90% Christian population. Brazil, I understand. Uganda, Zimbabwe is 87%. Kenya is 85%. Oh, Eswatini, 82%. There is South Africa sitting right down there at 79.8% of South Africans are practicing Christians. Very interesting. Botswana has got 71%. Cameroon 65%. Let's see who else is interesting. I'm going down now. Whoa, this is interesting. So in Ivory Coast, only 32% of their population is practicing Christians. Interesting. Burkina Faso, 22%. Now let's see. Now I get into the Muslim countries. Saudi Arabia only has 5% Christians. Djibouti, which is an African country, Djibouti is predominantly Arabian and they predominantly practice Islam. So I've been there and it's interesting that only 6% of their entire population is Christian. So interestingly enough, China, although it is on the top 10 list when it comes to the number of people practicing Christianity, it's only 3% of their population that do actually practice Christianity in China. This thing is annoying me. Jesus' pajamas. What else is interesting here? Let's just see quickly. Oh, that's surprising. Guess who? Which country only has 0.01 excuse me, percentage of practicing Christians? Right at the bottom of the list. Somalia. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So out of their 16 million population in Somalia, it seems they only have 1,000 Christians in Somalia. So if you're a practicing Christian and you go to Somalia, you'll not even be recognized, which means they don't even have Christmas or Easter or any of those things. I know there's a lot of countries that don't practice Easter and Christmas and any of those things. But if you are within the 1,000 people out of a 16 million population of a country, then you count for nothing. So yeah, so I'm gonna stop talking now, and I'm gonna go back to my documentary that I was watching on Netflix, and I'm gonna watch it some more because excuse me, I enjoy listening to other people and their opinions and trying to understand why it is that they do what it is that they do. Anyway, I am a member of AA, and a lot of people think AA members are crazy people too. A lot of people think we belong into a cult or something of that sort. So I don't judge, and you shouldn't judge, because at the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen. And we will only find out what the truth is when we can't come back and tell anyone. And that is when we are dead. Or as what are those churches called that believe that when it is the end of days? Oh, no. It's in the New Testament. It is said in the New Testament that in Revelations it says that there'll be a time that God comes back to earth, and they call it doomsday, I think. Doomsday, anybody who's alive will be judged, and everybody who's dead would rise back up to life for judgment day. Which is really confusing, because it means that theory actually just means that people who have died in the past are still dead, which is contrary to what they say, that they will know that when you die, you get judged and you either go to heaven or hell, right? But there are Christians who believe that on Judgment Day, the people who are alive will be judged by God, and the ones who are dead already will rise for judgment to be judged, and they then can go to where they'll spend their eternal life. Now, yeah, so I'm gonna leave it there because my mind is just going right now, and I've got so many thoughts, and I've got so many theories, and I've got so many things happening in my head. So I'm gonna take off my shoes and relax and watch that series of the Fundamentalists and see where it ended, if it still exists. I don't know. I don't want to do the research. I want to watch the documentary and see how it ends. Then, yeah, maybe talk about it some more. But for now, bye bye. Enjoy your Saturday afternoon while I sit on my laptop without power and relax and enjoy the rest of the day. May God bless you and keep you safe today, as that is all that we have. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow is yet to come. So have a fantastic Saturday afternoon. I will talk to you soon. I love you. Bye.